And next up is Stuart from Signpost. How are you? Nice to see you. Now, this is really fascinating because I have to give a quick disclaimer. I am an angel investor in your company.
You are an angel investor.
And I invested in your company in 2012 or 13? When was it? 13?
I think it was 12.
2012, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you had a different idea for this business when you started.
We did, yeah. So the business has evolved.
So in 2012, I invested in something called Postabon.
That's right. Yep.
Postabon was a Groupon competitor.
In a way. It was in that category. I wouldn't say it was a direct competitor.
Right.
Right.
And the original idea you had was?
Yeah, so the original idea was, we kind of called it Reddit for the physical world. And so people could post interesting things. It could be a discount or something to do using their phone. Other people could go online or on their phone and look for something interesting around them and find it. And then we charged local businesses a premium to have kind of premium advertising on that platform.
So I could like see, oh my God, there's 2-for-1 Cronuts here. Take a picture and share it with my friends on Postabon.
Exactly.
And that didn't work.
It did not work, no.
And so instead of losing the angel investors' money, you pivoted.
Yep.
And oh my God, this business has become huge and amazing. And you've raised a couple of rounds of financing since. I'm absolutely delighted that you have. Tell us what you're doing. Show us.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll start off, and we can see this on the screen. This is a Signpost customer.
Oh yeah, let's pull this up. Hey, can we ask the folks talking back there to take it outside?
So this is a Signpost customer. It's a business. They spend a few $1,000s on their website. They spend thousands of dollars a year advertising on Yellow Pages, PPC, display. They've seen kind of decreasing effectiveness, and they know that 3/4 of their customers are influenced online and by things like email. But at the same time, they know that's way too complicated for them to manage themselves. Whether it's an individual location or 100 locations, it's become.
So this is a physical
complex.
store, Nine Taylor.
This is a physical store. This is their online presence. There's kind of no e-commerce component.
Okay, so they built a nice website with Squarespace or something, beautiful, gorgeous.
Exactly, but
now what?
They see less and less traffic. So they sign up for Signpost. Within 72 hours, we've updated and optimized their profiles across every social, mobile, and directory platform that matters. And so when someone looks for a business like theirs or their specific business, they find a really high confidence, high converting page.
And so just so people know,
yeah.
To do 30 of these,
yep.
Most local businesses, it would take them 2 or 3 days to update all 30 of these.
It would. It's complex, and then optimizing each specific page. There are different fields that matter on each profile, and so most, I would say nearly all local businesses don't have that kind of domain experience.
And so was this the tool that sort of changed your thinking and everything, just seeing that pain point of like, my God, as an entrepreneur, I meet with these local businesses, and they can't even get their phone number and address into the 30 different places it belongs on the internet.
Exactly. So I mean, right back when we were Postabon, the company that you invested in, I was out talking to local businesses and kind of explaining our platform. And what we quickly realized was that the pain point was the level of complexity that was out there, not having yet another platform that they had to manage. And so by being the software layer that kind of is the intermediary between the business and this increasingly connected world, we can be much simpler and more effective than any one platform by itself.
Got it.
So just an example, if we click through, we can see this business's Yelp profile. Didn't exist before Signpost. Now they have images, about section, hours, every field that matters for them as a business. Same with Google+, MapQuest, and kind of the list goes on through the long tail. Another important thing for us is that the local businesses don't care just about people finding them online. They actually want to collect information on their customers and get those people to show up and make a purchase. And so what we do here is we post a conversion event on every profile. So in this case, this business has $100 off custom Super 150 suit. So you click on that, Signpost
Super 150?
Yeah.
You gotta get to like Super
I know.
600s or something.
Yeah, you're not buying any suits there. But yeah, so you click through, there's a conversion page. Again, this is something the business would not be able to do by themselves.
Yeah, if the business wanted to make this conversion page, they'd have to hire like an SEO, local marketing person for what, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month?
Yeah, easily. And so they'd have to create this conversion page plus kind of understanding what types of conversion events work for similar businesses. So because we represent tens of thousands of locations, we know what works best. We also have a lot of traffic on pages like this, so we can optimize the conversion event.
Right, so they would, not only would they have to pay somebody to build it, they'd have to understand how to optimize it. They'd have to sign up for MailChimp. They'd have to sign up for unbounce the
Yep.
page for optimizing pages. Okay.
Exactly. Yep, so this is very simple. Customer enters their email. Again, this is someone that looked for this business. They found them. They expressed interest on a specific special. So this is a really relevant customer for the business. Today, they wouldn't know who this person is. There'd be no conversion event, and the vast majority of people that go to a profile don't actually show up and pay for something. So in this case, you enter your email. You've got it. You now have an email in your inbox. And so over time, obviously, we're growing kind of an automated CRM database for the business. And then what's most important is engaging these customers. So again, over time, we're collecting lots and lots of data and customer information. We then send personalized, kind of timely messages to these customers. In this case, I'm showing two examples. One could be the business asking their customers to review them on Google+. The other one is kind of a generic feedback form of, how was your experience rating 1 to 5? These go out with some frequency to the customers. The business doesn't have to think, I want to send this email today, or I'm going to score this lead a certain way. They put in the requirements of what they want to accomplish, and the technology becomes invisible and executes on their behalf.
And this is, again, something that a local business like Nine Tailors, they don't have, a bunch of web gurus at the office, to build these kind of like surveys and stuff like that and CRM systems. They would have to hire, what would they spend to start doing CRM? Yeah,
so it's surprising, and for us, it's not just the truly SMB category. We increasingly deal with a lot of mid-market companies that do have a fairly robust marketing department, but generally that team doesn't want to spend a lot of time, again, scoring leads, writing emails, evaluating, A/B testing what messages work better than others.
Sure.
Because we aggregate this together, we can be much smarter about it. So they put in their requirements of what they want to accomplish, and the technology becomes invisible. They get very robust reporting, largely through email, just letting them know what's happening. And then they also get this dashboard. This is intentionally simple, but for this particular business, Nine Tailors, you can see the number of people that have viewed one of their profiles online, the number of customers they've collected.
And so wait, let's just stop for those two graphs there. Where the red line starts is when they started using the system?
Exactly.
And so maybe it took them 2 weeks, they finally put their information in,
yep.
And then all of a sudden the cumulative chart, or is that daily or is that cumulative?
This is cumulative, yes.
Yeah, so they started to now actually get people to find them, and they're tracking how many views they get.
Exactly. So very consistent. Again, we're quality over quantity. So we're looking at 15 to 30 new conversions per location per month. But those are some of the best conversions you could see because they're people looking for your business.
How do you know there's been 5,900 profile views on things like Yelp? Are you logging in through their API, or are you putting a tracking pixel? So
every profile, every platform can be unique. I would say, in general, we're really focused on the top 5 to 10 that matter the most. Sure. There are some long tail you saw in the 33. But for the vast majority of them, we do get pretty robust information on who's clicking, where they're coming from, et cetera.
So you just API it, boom,
yep.
pull it back. And then the 75 are the people who actually put their emails in. And
yes.
so now this person is actually starting to build a mailing list.
Yes.
Great.
Yep.
And have they converted those 75, or that's just 75 emails? Because there really should be 2 graphs there, shouldn't there?
There could be 2 graphs. Yeah. In general, it's difficult to fully close the loop when those people come in. But yes, that is something that we're working on.
Now, what's the map?
The map is where people have found them. So again, it's important if you're a local business to understand where your customers are viewing you online. We're able to do that. Again, another example we've talked about before where the business would have difficulty doing this themselves, but we can show them pretty good information on where these people are coming from.
And that's based on IP address?
That's right.
Again?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, great. Wow.
So yeah, and then in terms of what's next, we have some slides.
Oh, great. Yeah, let's see the slides of what's next. Now, how many people, since you did this pivot from post to bond to Signpost, how many people have signed up for, oh, here we go, here's the chart.
Yeah, so here's the chart right now. So since we kind of made that transition in 2012.
You have 167 employees?
167 employees, yes.
How many employees did you have when I invested?
Probably 3 or so.
Holy shit.
A lot. Yeah, that's not necessarily the vanity metric that's
a lot of people.
Yeah, so a lot of people. We have offices in New York, Austin, and Denver. We're actually moving locations in New York.
93,000 small businesses have their profiles managed.
Yep.
Wow.
45 states.
Incredible.
We're recognized by Forbes recently, and then probably the number that I'm most excited about is the revenue growth. So we've been growing 15% a month pretty predictably. Actually seen an uptick in the last few months, but this is something I think that really resonates with our audience, and once people sign up, they generally keep using it as long as they remain in business.
And what does it cost per month for a small business?
There's a little bit of range, but it's $150 per location per month. If you're being sold by the national team, you might have some kind of bulk pricing, but pretty affordable relative to what these businesses are spending today.
So if you were to hire an SEO or like a social media manager, you'd spend $1,000 or $2,000 a month.
Easily.
And here you're spending $1,500 a year.
Yeah.
$1,800 a year. But still, each customer equals $1,800.
Yeah.
You guys are making a lot of money.
Yeah, it's certainly still room to grow.
I haven't gotten an update on the business.
Yeah.
Here.
Glad we could do this now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then if we go to the next slide, what we're really excited about is what's coming up next. And so for us, the theme for Signpost is building lasting customer relationships for local businesses. That's what they really care about. Everything else is a means to that end. And so today we get a lot of data from businesses, from consumers that find the business online and click and save an offer, but we miss information coming from phone calls, emails, credit card swipes at the store, and eventually possibly beacons. And so what's next for us is kind of accessing these data streams so we can build a comprehensive record of every customer that's ever interacted with your business, and then have, again, very thoughtful, real-time, automated remarketing messages that go to those consumers to help you build word of mouth, stay relevant, drive increased visits, et cetera. And
what do you think the role of beacons will be? I mean, you've got your finger on the pulse of local businesses because you're solving a problem they've had for, like, let's say the last 15 years, which is keeping their profiles updated. Like, in a way, you've solved the 15-year-old problem.
Yep.
Are they even thinking about beacons right now? Does it come up in discussions? Do you know anybody who's implemented them? Because beacons is a really, but let's face it, it's the last, before Apple even said the word iBeacons, nobody even knew what it was. So
I think there are not many, kind of at the true SMB segment, there are not as many people, laser focused on beacons. I think when you get into the national market for us, it is interesting. But what we think really matters is there's a lot of power for beacons to accomplish something that the business knows they want to do, but aren't sure how to get there. So for us, cross-referencing data from all these data streams, every time you add another data stream, you create kind of exponentially more value. So if you knew, for example, people that had been in your store but didn't purchase something, or people that had called your business and then visited your store, you can start to get really specific with the marketing messages that you're sending. And because we have phone call and email information, we have a communication channel to that customer. So then when we add transaction data, you get a lot of context that informs the remarketing messages. If you added beacons on top of that, again, you can do some very interesting things.
And how do you get the phone calls? Because you're going to do one of those like redirecting things or something?
There's a couple ways to do the phone tracking. Can't go into too much detail today, but I can say, depending on how the business wants to accomplish this, we can collect 100% of inbound and outbound phone call data.
And then you take that phone call data with the offer data, and you can kind of put those together?
Exactly. Yeah, so you know who's saved an offer, you know who's called you, who's emailed, and ideally who's transacted. And so even looking at the people that have engaged with your business but not transacted, those are some of the most valuable customers for you as a business to try to re-engage.
So we just had Downtown on stage. What did you think of them, by the way?
Great presentation, yeah.
And the first question they get from the audience, which is the first question you'll get, of course, is like, oh, what about the POS system? What about the POS system? Are you going to integrate in the POS system? And it seems like the best practice now is like, yeah, whatever your POS system, we're just going to keep building what we're building over here.
Yep.
And POS system be damned.
Yeah,
how do you view the POS system?
Our objective is not requiring the consumers or the businesses to change their behavior. So generally most businesses that you talk to are okay with the POS terminal they have. If they're not, it's pretty easy for them to get another one. Same phone line, same email address, same terminal, but we're able to access the data without them having to do anything differently than they're doing today. And I think beacons have the same potential. Once they're installed, the business isn't constantly having to ask customers to input information or do something manually at the store themselves. So I think obviously POS is really important data feed for us. I think beacons could complement that.
What do you think of Square in the market? We invited them to come speak, but Jack wasn't able to make it. Okay. And we have a sort of founder-only rule, so we didn't take their number 2. What do you think of their presence in the market? I mean, people have, it's a loved product in a way, it's beautifully designed. People say on a business, it's not a good business, they're not making any money or they're losing too much money. What have they done in the space? Because they've operated slightly shorter than you have, but they're becoming a major force. Yeah, so I mean, we're obviously big fans of Square. I think they've done a lot for the market. They've had a lot of success in kind of the micro business category. So a lot of these guys were paying pretty high fees because they had relatively low transaction pricing. And so Square charges a flat 2.75%. That
impacts their economics as a business, but as a merchant,
Square's economics, you're saying?
Yeah, impacts Square's economics. So the size of the transaction impacts what you actually end up paying through Interchange Plus. So that's a lot of detail, but the basic is that if you're a kind of very small business or a food truck, you can get a Square POS terminal or card in your phone, and you know exactly what you're going to pay for processing, and it's really simple. They haven't, I think they're now kind of growing into bigger and bigger businesses, but it's been a great win for the micro merchants.
Do you worry they're going to come into your business and say like, oh, well, we should start being the center of the CRM universe? Because you took the route of, hey, we'll help you maintain all these profiles. They have the cash register. Seems like a collision course, doesn't it?
It's possible. I mean, we know the guys at Square pretty well. I think there's probably more opportunity for us to collaborate with them, where they own kind of the POS environment. We have a lot of data on customers and have the remarketing engine. And so if we work together, there's opportunity to help each other sign up the same businesses and provide a more powerful, comprehensive platform.
What's the most effective remarketing you've seen a business do?
So some of the most effective things they can do, it's really word of mouth is one big one. So if you're a small business, a lot of your clients actually do come from referrals from other businesses. So getting your existing base to review you online or forward, we send like friends and family offers to from the business to their customers. Those get forwarded. That's some of the most effective stuff they can do. Even getting feedback from their customers on how they're doing, how was their experience. That's really what we recommend.
And let's talk about Yelp's presence in the space. Now they're going to be booking.
Yep.
I guess they bought the company that does like an open table competitor.
Yep.
Got the name.
And they're working with a number of partners.
And working with a number of partners. Yep. And then obviously there's this whole mythology of they make you pay to remove bad reviews, which has been proven to be false.
Yep.
But how do local businesses look at Yelp, and then how do you interact as a result of that?
Yeah. So I think Yelp obviously. Really big company, very important for search. But what's interesting is that if you take the perspective of a business owner, they're one of 10 that you need to manage. They're not the only one. And so,
are they the most important, though, to local businesses? Certainly restaurants.
We actually think now Google Plus is arguably, I would say it is one of the most important, but because Google Plus feeds into,
Google Search.
Yeah, Google Search and Google Maps, that gets a pretty, significant volume. And a lot of businesses don't have a Google Plus page today, so they're missing out on an important opportunity. But Yelp is clearly very important. It's one of several platforms that matter. So I think obviously it's very important to us that we power information on Yelp. But if you're a business, you couldn't just manage your Yelp page. Like that's a subset of what matters to you.
And how do you talked a little bit about encouraging reviews. Talk a little bit more about that and the best practice around that, because that seems to be, the biggest, hang up a lot of these local businesses have is dealing with the fact that an irate customer is the most, 100 times more likely to post a review than a delighted customer.
Exactly. So, it's all about kind of sending them reminders, not being too forceful. We don't actually offer any kind of incentive for writing a review. You also position it as, we'd really appreciate a 5-star review, or if you have other feedback, please email us. So you can kind of channel feedback in different directions.
Got it.
And then I'd also note you have to be careful with the terms of service of the platform you're working with. We think Google Plus, because it's so prominently displayed, is a great place to kind of focus your reviews. Yelp obviously also is a very important platform. There are kind of more specifics around what you're able to do with the business to ask people to review you on Yelp.
And what is that? You're not allowed to. What are the terms of service?
Yeah, terms are you're not allowed to ask people to review. Certainly are a lot of people that do that. The other thing is with Yelp, there's a relatively small percentage of users that write the vast majority of Yelp reviews. They're kind of like the Yelp elite group.
Mm-hmm, yep.
And the likelihood that any one of your customers has an account on Yelp and is known for writing reviews is relatively low. So it's easier, a lot of people have a Gmail account. If you can go to Google Plus and post a review, it's a pretty seamless process for the consumer.
Let's take a question from the Twitter.
Okay.
Here it comes. We'll see it down here on the courtesy monitor. Did you have any more slides, by the way, or is that the?
That's the
last one. Okay. So let's put the Twitter question up, if you don't mind. And do you think there's a lot of shenanigans on? Oh, here we go. Boom. Is Signpost only available for brick-and-mortar businesses? Yeah, there it goes.
Yep.
So are you only doing brick-and-mortar, or are you doing like online stores and stuff?
Today we only do brick-and-mortar. I think eventually we'll expand to e-commerce, but I think the sweet spot of where really high volume of businesses that struggle with this pain point, where we can create a lot of value, is greatest with brick-and-mortar. So we're focused today eventually we'll open it up to do e-commerce as well.
So a lot of entrepreneurs here and a lot of them on the stage, so a lot of them at the lunches today for the roundtable discussions at lunch, which will be great. They're trying to crack local businesses and do local, have a local sales, team. You have a huge local sales team. It's the majority of the staff, I would guess.
About half.
About half.
Yep.
So you have 80 sales executives trying to get into local businesses.
Yep.
What have you, and you were trying to do this previously with Postabon, what have you learned about selling into those local businesses? Because people say that's the hardest thing in part of the business in the world to do. Is it?
It's tough. I mean, I think relative to enterprise sales, the lead time to close a sale is relatively quick. We still do first call closes where we'll talk to a business, they get it, sign up right away. So the sales cycle is much shorter than traditional enterprise. The issue is they generally don't have as big of a budget, so you've got to be really efficient in how you sell, and you've got to have a product that is sticky, so they continue using. And so small local businesses are notorious for trying things, having cards that expire and things like that. So we really think you need to focus on something that's critical path for the business, not nice to have. And so our focus is always on the essential. And the essential is if someone looks for you online, you have to show up. You've got to have data on the customers you have, and you've got to use that data to engage your existing base. And so that is absolutely critical for running a business. Doing things that are nice to have are more likely to be cut if the business has any kind of down cycle.
Let's take a couple of questions from the audience. We have one over here. While we're running the microphone over, gosh, we're having a local conference, Beacons and local and commerce and retail, and Groupon has not been said once, but if we were here just 5 years ago, that would we'd probably call this the deal conference. What in your estimation happened to the deal space? Because this was supposed to be driving the entire economy and was going to be the future of commerce. Flash sales and Groupons were going to be the future, and now we never hear about them except for the companies that are struggling and how they're laying people off or reorganizing or trying different things. What happened to that space?
Yeah, so I mean, I think, flash sale offers still make sense for a subset of the market, and it's a periodic thing, but it's certainly not a comprehensive answer for every business, or even for one specific business to only market through flash sales. So I think again, it does work if you're maybe brand new or you're struggling. There's some positive cash flow implications. We would not recommend it for most of our customers. So I think obviously Groupon's still a $5 billion company, still bigger than Yelp in terms of market cap. They are a successful business, but we think it's one of many marketing approaches you can take as a business. It certainly is not the only one.
So people, the number one thing on a local merchant's mind is not doing a Groupon to get 1,000 people in the door anymore. It is
not. I think most businesses have a negative perception. And the challenge is if you look at an email newsletter being sent by a daily deal company, again, a very small percentage of those people generate the vast majority of returns for the deal operator. And those are people that might buy Groupon 2 or 3 times a week, and their objective is consistent with Groupon's consumer marketing. I want to enjoy my city at 50% off, 90% off. So those customers are great for the deal company. They're kind of the worst people for the local business because they're saying, I'm coming here for the offer and I'm never going to come back if there's not something being offered. So we think it's more important that you really have kind of a lower quantity, higher quality approach, where you're marketing to people that have found you online, they've called you, they've emailed you, they've transacted with you. Like the business really lives and dies by 1,000 interactions, per location per month.
1,000 interactions per location per month.
It varies by category pretty significantly, but let's just say on average it's about 1,000 interactions per location per month. You have to make sure those are absolutely optimized to the extent possible. Advertising to people that live far away and have never heard of you may make sense periodically, but it shouldn't be the foundation of your
So instead of the $100 off on the suit is fine, but you don't want to sell a $100 suit and lose money, $100 on each one.
That you lose money on because those people are very unlikely to come back.
Paul Reedham from Canada. You're generating a lot of data, and I was wondering, earlier on we saw a circle up there using the data from the 3,500 companies that applied to analyze the other ones that they actually put money into. I was wondering if you're using the data from the current customers, that you have a huge customer base, to sell to other customers in that same market, like whether it's a coffee shop or something like that, saying, this category needs our business, needs your business because of these data points.
Yeah, we certainly do, and that's an important part of our go-to-market strategy. So we have a data scientist that works with us to kind of optimize our lead strategy. And so we'll see indicators that we know predict it's a business that could really use our service, and we will be able to sign up. And once they sign up, they'll probably continue using Signpost. And so we're pretty smart about how we do that.
Another question back there. So 160 employees. Holy cow. This is incredible, dude.
Yeah, it's been fun.
What,
Hey,
just
Stuart.
out of curiosity, I don't remember, but what valuation was the company when I invested? Do you remember?
I don't know if that's publicly available.
Well, whatever. It'd be fun. It's like super noteworthy. You want to get like some press mentions. It's a good way to do it.
Yeah.
It was probably low millions, right?
Yeah, it was low millions. Yeah, less than 10, less than 5 probably.
Less than 5 I
Yeah.
invested in.
Yeah.
Wow. What's it worth now?
That's
$100
definitely
million
that's definitely
business
not
or something?
public. Yeah.
This sounds like a $100 million business to me. Holy cow.
Hey, so I'm JJ Caleo. I actually put you guys on the Forbes list last year, so I'm happy to see you guys continuing
Thank
to
you.
justify that.
This is a man of astute taste.
Yeah.
Keep going.
So one question I have, you know, I look at competitors, or what I perceive to be competitors like Yext and Single Platform, and you kind of have the same offering with these 30 different websites that they sync up for you. Can you kind of clarify how you're different and what the competitive landscape looks like?
Yeah, so great question. There are, kind of the two competitors you mentioned, Single Platform Yext and a company called Loku that was recently acquired by GoDaddy that focus on presence. I think from a positioning perspective, we're really about building customer relationships. So having an outstanding presence is kind of a prerequisite for that, but it's completely insufficient by itself. So what's different for Signpost is not only do we update the profiles for the business, other platforms generally just have a feed that the business can use themselves, and from our experience, they don't use that effectively. What's more important is that we're collecting data on the customers that do engage with the business and then have automated remarketing. So those two steps are not kind of, do not exist in our competitors to any large extent, and that's really where we're focused and where we're different.
Anybody else have a question before we finish up? Stuart, congratulations. I'm really impressed by how you and the team really had the resiliency and the doggedness to iterate on the idea and then build such an extraordinary business, and I'm super proud to be involved, so continued success.
It's been great to have you. Thanks, Jason.
Thanks so much. Yeah.